Welcome to our third video where we're basically going to take the crop top in version 1 and change it up. So as we did in our other two versions, I'm using a 5.5 hook and the Brand.re navy yarn in a 3 weight. And for the double crochet that we're demoing, because it's such a great beginner stitch, I found, again, this is size medium. I had a lacy kind of drapey effect, but not see-through. But of course, if you do have a much larger bust, you can just opt to go down to a slightly smaller hook and make it a little less lacy. Again, the free pattern's on Ravelry, and today we're going to take the crop top that we started with in version 1, which is inside the black box, and add D, our 2 panels that work horizontally. So for all of the different versions, you can really do a quick measure on your preferred length by just draping a long sort of measuring tape over your shoulder and kind of doing a rough estimate of really how long would you like your t-shirt length to be, or any of your versions to be. And for a medium, again, my rough guide was 102. But I do recommend instead you take a favorite t-shirt and check the length of that, because it's going to guarantee it's a length you already love. And today, again, we're adding to the top piece, which is the crop going vertical, a interesting horizontal panel across the bottom. So back in the first video, we did the crop top, which is chaining along B and then doing, for size medium, 50 rows. And we placed the opening for the neckline bang smack in the middle to create a V-neck at both the front and the back. So again, you can go back and refresh on video 1, a simple crop top, which is the top part of this version. And again, one easy rectangular piece with the neck in the middle. And if you're going to continue for this version, you can do it either in the round or working flat. So sometimes when I'm traveling, I find it easier to finish off the crop top and work in the round, but it's whatever your preference is for the stitch you've chosen. So again, to finish off the crop, we were just measuring down from the shoulder for our armholes and marking those. And then we just did a simple mattress stitch up the side to close from the bottom of the crop top up to the armhole. And then you can choose different trims to finish it off. Now for the beginner version, we just did the neckline perfectly centered. It made the easiest option. But if you'd like some other alternatives, you can put a much higher back on the neckline and keep the front V-neck into the perfect length that you had found that you loved. And so to do that, we're just going to double crochet back loop up more stitches on the back, and then shorten on the back side the number of chains that we do so that we have a lower front V-neck and a higher back. So for the crop top, we did an 1/18 inch opening, which again can shorten up to a couple of inches if you're, picking different trims. And on the boat neck, we did a 15 inch opening. So you can play around again, and instead of putting it exactly in the middle, you can make the back shorter and change up another t-shirt look. So again, for this version, we're going to continue. We've made the crop top, which is the top piece that's in the center. And now we're going to add these interesting panels to give us another version of the t-shirt. So we're working on the D panels, and for the test, I've done the herringbone stitch. So an easy option. But how do we connect the herringbone stitch to the bottom of this crop top? Well, it's really easy. We are just going to single crochet around. And for a medium, that added 74 single crochets on the front and the back. So I did 3 single crochet stitches across 2 rows of double crochet back loop only. I found that gave me the nicest spread, evenly spaced stitches as we went around. So just again, single crochet all the way around the edge of your crop top, and now you have a lovely line of crochet that you can begin to work a horizontal stitch in to just give you some additional interest. For the herringbone stitch that I noted in the pattern, because it is a 1-2 row repeat, I actually did do another row of single crochet, but you could just as easily start your interesting new stitch right away. And the herringbone, again, there's lots of great tutorial videos that show lots of close-ups, but it's a 2-row repeat where you're picking up the vertical bar, going through to add 3 loops onto your hook, and then yarning over and pulling through all those 3 hooks. And it really just changes up because you're working on the front on one row and then working through the back on the second row. So it is I think still kind of, pretty easy beginner stitch as you start to learn. But again, the beautiful part about the way we've structured this pattern is you could pick a different favorite stitch that you're already really comfortable with and just change up the panel if you don't want to do the herringbone stitch because you've got another stitch in mind. So that's the beauty. But again, the herringbone stitch is a pretty straightforward, easy stitch, and we can experiment with that as we create the panel. Now in the written pattern, I've put in 6 rows as, sort of the minimum that you could look at, because of course you've measured out what your ideal length is. So feel free to change up how many rows of herringbone you really want to do to again finish off the piece to the perfect length for you. So I tried it on a couple of times and again went back to my favorite t-shirt to see if I got the perfect length that I liked, because I wanted to be able to wear it as a t-shirt and I also wanted to be able to layer it when I'm traveling. So again, feel free to adapt as you like. And then if you have a little bit of bulk at the back, as I did here, the nice thing about the herringbone stitch for beginners as well is I just tuck this in by crocheting 2 stitches together just at the back on either side of that gape to perfectly tailor in. So again, if you are larger in the front and you do have a little bit of an excess at the back, easy to again just crochet 2 together to nip that in and make it fit perfectly. Now I could have done the narrower 6 row of herringbone or even double crochet herringbone here and then gone back to the rib stitch. But again, I decided because I had finished off the neckline and the armholes with the alternate double slip stitch trim, the border stitch, that I would just do that across the bottom as well. So like the herringbone stitch, the alternate slip stitch that I'm giving you is just working into that vertical bar. And this stitch that I'm showing creates sort of 2 parallel side-by-side slip stitches. So it does give you a slightly wider border stitch, but it lays perfectly flat. Again, just a little bit of a more advanced border, but the slip stitch also looks beautiful to finish off the pieces if you're a beginner and doing a garment for the very first time. So you can experiment with lots of different trims. This one again is about as complicated as the herringbone, and if you were comfortable picking up that vertical bar with the herringbone, you will absolutely find this alternate slip stitch finish a breeze as well. So it's whatever you feel comfortable with, and do feel free to sub out different trim ideas, different finishes, and again, always work to the length that you measured that you feel really comfortable with. So on mine, I finished the armholes, the neckline, and the base here just so it looks really finished and polished. But I also showed in the second version, you could also do a rib. So by adding that 1 row of the single crochet, you're really giving yourself a number of different options. And again, if I was doing the rib, I would match it on the arms and the neckline, but feel free to, choose up different options. It's whatever you really love in order to customize this to suit your needs, really make it unique for you. So that's the third option, just again giving you another version of a simple one piece, but we can now really go crazy. So we have unlimited choice now with colors and combinations, and again, even doing different color trims or buying ombre yarn. I can even do, as I did here bottom right, some surface, kind of really textured surface stripes that I'm crocheting on top of a single crochet. So you can play around with a whole host of different colors and different options. Again, really takes this one basic pattern that we've now shown you 3 different versions of, and even just by changing up the colors, you can see how really you can turn this into unlimited numbers of shirts once you've got your favorite fit and your favorite style. Again, love the herringbone stitch, and like we did in version 2, we can do a v-neck with just the longer chain for the longer length and make a single sort of stripy t-shirt. So again, think of all the stitches you could do here. I'm really looking forward to trying a wheat stitch version, which will be my winter one because it's a little thicker, uses a fair amount more yarn, but I think will look spectacular. Again, I love that sort of vertical look. But I also love adding the horizontal band and kind of coming up with patterns that give you the most options to play around with. So I've got lots of stitches I'm going to make versions of this t-shirt with, and I'd love to know what's your favorite. I might even try not making the shoulders quite as wide and ending up with tank tops. So let us know in the comments below, what are you looking forward to experimenting with as you think about customizing? Thanks again for all your likes and your comments and your subscriptions. And again, the pattern is free. We'll put the links to Ravelry below. And as always, we appreciate your support because all of the proceeds from all of our efforts are going towards Canadian charities. Have a great week, and we'll look forward to sharing some more patterns next week.